This is the Travel and Tourism Show on Star FM.
We are Star FM, sounding good all the time. Welcome to the Travel and Tourism Show. I'm Mazivisa. This is the show that gives you information on where to go, how to go, what to do, and how to do it. Aside from giving you all of those tips, we also highlight various issues within the travel and tourism industry. Feel free to link up with me on my Facebook page and Twitter handle, Mazivisa. On the show tonight, we've got a very interesting show tonight. We've got a young lady in the studio, and she's going to be telling us all about herself and all about the things that she is doing within the travel and tourism industry. Her name is Ashleigh Mazivisa. Ashleigh, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us, who are you? Who's Ashleigh? What does she do? And why is she here?
Okay, so I run a travel blog called tingu.com. My blog focuses on travel in Africa. And at the moment, I'm doing a road trip around Zimbabwe, exploring all the travel destinations and capturing all the experiences and information to share with everyone else planning to come to travel to Zimbabwe. My blog recently won Best Travel Blog at the Zimblog Awards.
Nice. So you say you run a blog about Africa. Where have you been? Have you been across Africa?
I've been to 10 African countries so far. I've been to Morocco, Botswana, South Africa, Swaziland, Lesotho, Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, Zambia, and of course Zimbabwe.
Very nice. Okay, so you are a young lady and you are traveling right across Africa. What are the safety and security concerns? Because a lot of people talk about security issues when you are a traveler.
Yeah.
When you're a female traveler, I mean, that's a whole different game.
Yeah.
What has been your experience?
You definitely need to be very alert and understand the type of country you're going to. You know, are there any religious laws in place in terms of how you should dress? You know, respect that. Because while, you know, we come from different backgrounds, as a woman sometimes you just don't want to draw unnecessary attention to yourself. You know, the things you carry around. I film my experiences, so I carry very expensive equipment around sometimes. So just staying in places where it's busy and traveling, you know, when there's light. But to be quite honest, I haven't had any issues. It's very safe. This Zimbabwe trip, I'm going to be camping in the bush, you know, as a woman. And, you know, I have no doubt that I'm going to be fine the whole time. You know, a lot of the instances that do happen, people are a bit careless. You know, you walk around flashing an expensive camera, you're walking around at night where you're not dressed appropriately and you draw unnecessary attention to yourself. I know I'm going to come under fire for this dressing issue, but, you know, if you've been to very religious countries or very strict countries, you'll understand what I mean. You know, I was preparing to go to Zanzibar. It's a very strict Muslim country, and in certain parts of the town there was a story of a lady who had acid thrown on her because she was wearing shorts and a bikini top. And I mean, you're free to dress the way you want, but you know, it's always good to respect other people's culture, because you just don't want to end up in that situation. It's just not worth it. Right. So, you know, you just need to be conscious of the cultural norms, be safe with any expensive equipment or gadgets, and just walk during the day and you'll be fine.
That's useful advice. Very useful. What have your experiences been, and how do they compare to the Zim experience?
I think that for most of the African countries I've been to, there's been something that drew me there. And I feel like Zimbabwe doesn't quite have that as far as their marketing goes. So, for example, my most recent trip was to Tanzania, and I went there to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. You know, they've got Kilimanjaro, so everyone talks about that. I went to Kenya, and Kenya has the Great Serengeti. Everybody talks about the safaris and the Masai Mara. You know, I went to Morocco, and it's the ceramics and the food. And right now, Zimbabwe has the Victoria Falls, but it doesn't really have that punch, or we haven't actually made it a unique Zimbabwean experience. So I feel like we just need to do a bit more in marketing the Zimbabwean experience to the world.
Really? That's interesting. Is that how we are viewed outside? Because I thought the Vic Falls was like one of the 7 wonders of the world.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because if you look at the people that advertise Victoria Falls the most, it's not Zimbabwe. It's other countries outside Zimbabwe. And for example, South African operators, when they package the Victoria Falls, it's never, we are taking you to Zimbabwe to see the Victoria Falls. It's, we're taking you to the Victoria Falls. So someone can come from another country and say, oh my God, I went to South Africa and then I went to the Victoria Falls. But there isn't that association with Zimbabwe and the Victoria Falls.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
So I started this blog in December 2016. I guess for me, I used to live in the UK and I used to travel quite a lot across Europe. It was just cheaper there and a lot more options. So when I relocated to South Africa, I just found it very difficult to find information on the places I wanted to go to. So I started the blog with the intention of sharing this information and just making it easier for other people who want to travel in Africa to have a central place to go to get information about travel in Africa. And I also find that we don't have a lot of African people advertising Africa or blogging about travel in Africa. So it was this time we had, an African face, a black face, and more importantly, a woman talking about travel in Africa.
Okay, yeah. Woman, blackface. I hear that. You're also a very young lady. How old are you?
Not as long as I look. I'm actually 28.
Oh, wow. Well, you're an inspiration to a lot of people, I think, who would probably hear you and want to do the same thing. How is it in terms of costs? I mean, you've talked about Morocco, Tanzania, all of those places. I'm sure a number of people would want to do it, but they think costs. How have you managed?
The biggest challenge for travel bloggers is just that, the cost. And I started blogging while I was still working full time. So a lot of these trips were actually holidays that I went to that I had saved up for a while. And so I was able to go myself. Now that I'm doing it full time, I'm kind of creating relationships with partners on the ground, parastatals, key players in the tourism industry, and they're hosting me for a lot of these things. So I don't actually pay for a lot of the things I do. I just capture the experience and share the content.
Nice. So what is your page? Where do people find this information?
Okay, so my blog is tingu.com, spelled THINGU.com. On Facebook, it's also tingu.com. You can find it on Instagram as well, so THINGU.official, or on Twitter, THINGUofficial.
Okay. What have your impressions of Zimbabwe been so far?
I've been very impressed. I think the kind of thought in the market is that, maybe market players aren't ready for tourists. Things still need to have a bit of work done. But I've been pleasantly surprised with how professional everyone on the ground has been. And they're very ready to welcome travelers. And not just because I'm Zimbabwean, but because they're just passionate about what they do. The market has been very difficult. And I think for players to continue to want to showcase Zimbabwe, it just shows that the people in the industry are really passionate about what they're doing. So I'm very impressed so far. And I've found so many amazing things around Zimbabwe. And the response on my social media as well has been, we didn't even know we had this in Zimbabwe. Please keep sharing.
Wow.
So I'm just hoping to continue doing that on my journey around the country.
Nice. Golly gosh. Mind block.
You can ask me where the name came from.
Total mind block. Yes. There's something else I was going to ask you. Okay, tell us about, let's go back to your name, tingu.com. Where did that come from?
So it actually is derived from the Shona word kutingura, which is basically, gallivanting or always moving up and down. And so Tingu is someone who's always up and down. And because I used to like traveling a lot, I coined that name. It's actually a word my mom used to say a lot when my brother was never home. He's like, hey, Tingu enda kupi, So I really liked that. And I know it's spelled THI, but that's just because I couldn't get the domain name I wanted. So I threw in the H so I could keep the story. And I like that it always resonates with Zimbabwe, which is where I'm from. So
okay, so you are a Zimbabwean coming back home, are you?
Potentially, yes.
Potentially. Okay. What sort of things would you want people to help you out with in order to get tourism and Zim out there?
To be quite honest, it kind of goes back to the question that you asked me earlier. How do you afford to travel? And at the moment, it's really partnerships with people that are in the travel and hospitality industry, accommodating me so I can capture the experience and share the content. Another feature on my blog is a listing feature. So I do list businesses, activities, restaurants, that sort of thing for travelers to see. So just engagement from the market to be able to add their information onto my website. To do that, they can send me an email on admin@tingu.com. And it just kind of helps other travelers to know that their businesses exist. Because the reality is there isn't a place where there is a comprehensive database. And I'm just trying to build that. So by getting that information, that would go a long way in helping my blog become more robust. But yeah, sponsorships, keeping me on the road, partnerships in terms of hosting me, and sharing the business information so I can be able to put it on the website so others can find it.
How long are you away from home?
What do you mean when I'm traveling?
When you're traveling, yeah.
So before, like I said, because I was working full time, the max would be maybe a week, 2 weeks. But right now, I'm doing the Zimbabwe road trip for 3 months.
Okay.
And I'm hoping by the end of 3 months, I would have covered everything. If I haven't, then I'll have to stay a bit longer. Which is where the sponsorships come in handy because I can't afford to stay longer.
Okay.
Yeah, but this Zim one is 3 months.
What are your objectives when it comes to Zim? What are you trying to, like at the beginning, I remember you were mentioning there's certain key things in countries, like you talked about the Serengeti, you talked about Mount Kilimanjaro. For Zim, what is it for you?
Well, that's the whole point of the trip, to discover what that thing is. I know the Victoria Falls is, the big thrust, but I think that we can perhaps offer more than one thing so that the Victoria Falls experience is unique to Zimbabwe. I'm hoping at the end of the trip I'll have, a very definite answer for you, but for now I'm still trying to figure out what that thing is.
Okay, and how long have you been in the country?
It's been a month and a half now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things that people have brought up in shows is the issue of accessibility. They've said that the Zim market, tourism market, is very difficult to access, be it by road, by air, by foot, by whatever, to get to certain attractions. It's really difficult for them. What has your experience been?
So I had planned to do this as a road trip. I'm actually going to be camping around the country. So because I have a vehicle, my biggest, I haven't really had issues in terms of getting to places. But what I've seen is that for the everyday person trying to get to a place, there isn't enough resources to get to a destination. So for example, a few weeks ago I did a video on a steam safari that the National Railways of Zimbabwe has started doing to basically allow people to get to tourist destinations by train, and making it affordable and accessible for more people. But the reality is there aren't a lot of buses going to a place. Not everybody has a car to go to a place, and when it's time to fly, the cost then comes into play. So things really aren't accessible still, and sometimes the state of the road doesn't allow you to get to where you want to go if you have a small car. But it's my hope that as the players in the industry start to get more business, they'll invest in the infrastructure around them and make it easier for people to get to them.
Nice. Future plans? What are your future plans with all of this? I'm sure it's not just going to end with blogging.
No, the idea is I hopefully will kind of become one of the players in the travel and tourism industry myself. Part of this is just seeing what the opportunities are in the market and where the gaps are. And in my case, is to see how technology can help make travel in Africa more accessible.
Nice. We are Star FM, sounding good all the time. It's the month of April, and we're saying #freedom. And we are speaking to Ashleigh, who has been in 10 different countries within Africa, and she has been looking at the various attractions, and she's currently in Zimbabwe at the moment. Tell us, what have you enjoyed?
So I'm a scuba diver, and I've been enjoying the diving experiences.
In Zim?
Yes, in Zimbabwe. You can go scuba diving in Zimbabwe.
Tell us, where?
So the two diving spots we have at the moment are the Chinoi Caves and Muturashanga Quarry. And I know everyone's thinking, Njuzu.
And did you do that?
Yes, I'm actually going to be doing the Chinoi Caves dive next week, but I am a certified diver. The Muturashanga Quarry was actually very amazing, and I found some interesting things in there. I'm going to post a video about that, so you can check on social media to see what I found.
Nice.
But
give us a hint.
It's not supposed to be in the water.
Okay.
It should be in the air.
Wow.
I think, it's I've been working with a company called Dive Wild, which supports scuba diving, or rather offers scuba diving services in Zimbabwe. And, it's things like that where Zimbabwe is not known for scuba diving, and yet we've got such beautiful scuba diving sites that people aren't utilizing. So it's really just to show that. So that's been really amazing for me. I also went to Mbare.
Yes.
I was in.
You did a township tour.
Yes, I went around the township, went to the cemetery, spoke to the locals, went to the market, spent some time at the Shabin, and I had so much fun there. Probably too much fun, but anyway, it's just really trying to do different things. Actually, when I was in Bari, I found a contemporary art studio. One artist is Gresham Nyawule, and he's actually recognized internationally in New York. And I didn't know we had those kind of artists, in Bari, and we had wine and talked about art. You wouldn't expect that kind of experience from Bari. And I was just really amazed at how much you can actually find by just taking a walk and seeing what the city has to offer. So that's been amazing.
Yeah, that's very interesting. All of those things that you have mentioned. The scuba diving, for example, I only know of scuba divers who are probably military people who are looking for someone who's missing or something like that. Never had I thought that in Zim you can actually have a scuba diving experience.
It's actually very easy to do, and I'm going to put up an article about that on the blog, so I'll share the link on social media as well. But it's really easy for the ordinary person to go and learn how to dive and go scuba diving. Turashanga is just under 2 hours away. Chinoi Caves is not that far, and I have so many people who I can show you who've been in and out, so there are no mermaids. You'll be fine. So it's just being able to access this information, because people just don't know.
Yeah, interesting. As for the township tours that you also mentioned, I hope you are not just going to limit it to Harare. A lot of people, we talk of township tours. Yes, Harare is our capital, but there are other places out there in Zim. I hope you're going to visit other places as well.
Yeah,
and
definitely
learn the history and everything.
The idea with camping is to try and get as close to the locals as possible and find out, what's happening on the ground. I guess, again, the challenge is information, so finding out about these things. A lot of these people don't market themselves very well, so you don't even know that there's a township tour operation, or maybe there isn't one at all, and no one has thought that, hey, maybe visitors might want to see the township experience in my city. So, I'm really keen to work with people in the different cities, locals that kind of want to showcase the township side of their city and go and see it. And if that's a business opportunity for them, then hey, that's great.
Excellent. You mentioned that a lot of people don't market themselves well. Why is that? You are well traveled and you've seen a whole lot more than most of us. Why is that for us? And what can we do about it?
I don't think a lot of businesses appreciate the value of social media. And while you don't necessarily always translate your immediate followers into customers, they might show somebody who is a customer. And also, the outlook sometimes is just local clients. So people think, locals aren't going to come, so why should I bother having a presence online? But somebody who's sitting in Canada, for instance, might think, Zimbabwe, what's there to do? If they search Zimbabwe experience, whatever comes up is what they do. So if you're not online, they're not going to know about your experience. So, it's something as simple as having a Facebook page, being on Twitter or on Instagram so people can see. Just having a website. You can have a free website in 10 minutes, just so people know you exist and that you're in business.
Wow. Very, very interesting. And I have certainly enjoyed listening to everything that you have got to offer, the things that you are experiencing within your journey within the travel and tourism industry. I really wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I hope this is the first of many shows. And we'll be having more of you and catching up. I certainly want to know about your scuba diving experience in the Chinoi Caves. That's just to satisfy my own curiosity.
What is in the cave?
What is in there? Exactly.
I'll film the whole thing and I'll be definitely sharing it with you.
Awesome. Ashleigh, thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me.
That is Ashleigh Mazivisa. We've been speaking to her. She's a travel blogger. And give us your details again, where people can follow you and find out the different places that you've been to and you are going to and the things that you're doing. She's in Zimbabwe for the next 3 months. What are your social media details?
So on Facebook, it's thingu.com. On Instagram, it's thingu.official. On Twitter, it's thingu official. And on YouTube, it's thingu official as well. And the website is tingu.com.
Nice. Just one final thing. I know you are a young, beautiful, assertive, go-getter young lady. What are your final words? What words of encouragement can you give people out there, or young girls, young people out there who would like to do what you are doing?
I think that you must understand that you have a lot to offer. You know, a lot of people are good writers, good photographers, good web designers, graphic designers. You don't need to have a large budget to be a travel blogger. You just need to be passionate about it. Walk around in Harare, show us what there is to do in Harare at no cost to you. Show us what there is to do in your neighborhood, and you can start there. And I think once you just start, the rest will fall into place.
Nice. That's all we have for you tonight, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Travel and Tourism Show. I'm Mazivisa. Until next time, happy traveling.
Thank you for tuning in to the Travel and Tourism Show on Star FM.